Okay, so you know we love to dig into the weird and wonderful,
Yeah.
and today is no exception.
Definitely not.
You sent over this material on azizi aethona,
Mm-hmm.
and wow, what a fascinating creator.
Right.
Ethiopian cyborg EDM composer,
Yeah. A lot going on there.
just to start.
Yeah,
But their upcoming album, Unwritten Chapters, that's what we're really here for.
absolutely.
We've got excerpts, we've got a novella, we've even got a study guide and glossary.
It seems like someone is really serious about getting this message out there.
Yeah, it's definitely not just dropping an album. This is a whole project.
Definitely not.
It seems like they're really going all in on creating an experience
Yeah, very much so.
to get people thinking about this.
Yeah.
And from what we've gathered, it seems like Aethona's goal with Unwritten Chapters is to weave together music, personal narratives, social commentary,
Yeah.
exploring LGBTQIA+ identity
Yeah.
with a real focus on the trans experience.
Especially within the context of a futuristic Ethiopia.
Right.
We're talking 2192.
Which is so interesting because right away you have that blending of like technology and tradition.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about the fact that Aethona is using traditional Ethiopian instruments
I think it's brilliant.
blended with modern EDM?
I think it speaks to that idea of fluidity, which we see throughout their work.
Hmm.
And not just fluidity in terms of gender, but fluidity in the music itself.
Yeah, and even their cyborg identity plays into that.
Of course.
This blurring of lines between human and artificial.
Yeah, and that blurring of lines makes you think, how does that impact their artistic expression?
Right.
How does it affect their understanding of identity and their place in the world?
Right, and these are all really good questions to keep in mind as we go deeper.
Absolutely.
And since we're talking about blurring lines,
Okay.
we have to talk about 𝗧𝗔
Yes.
from Bridges of Love.
Yes.
This character is a digital humanoid
Okay.
with 7 distinct vocal parts,
Wow.
each representing a different aspect of the LGBTQIA+ community.
That is fascinating.
So imagine hearing a single character singing in 7 different voices.
It really makes you think about identity in a different way.
Yeah,
How do we define ourselves both as individuals and as part of a larger community?
exactly. And for me, it really highlights that identity can be both individual and collective.
Absolutely.
We're all unique, but we're also part of something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. Aethona seems to be saying that identity is a spectrum, a beautiful tapestry of experiences.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit.
Yeah.
We've got this character 7 embodying this concept of fluidity.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have this strong theme of resistance
Yes.
running through the entire album.
Absolutely, particularly in songs like Colors of Resistance and Rise Up Renegades.
Right, and it's almost like Aethona is saying, yes, we're fluid, we're multifaceted,
Yeah.
but we're also here to fight for our rights.
Mm-hmm. To challenge the systems that try to define and limit us.
Right, and they're not holding back at all.
Not at all.
They're directly addressing oppression, discrimination, erasure faced by the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly in Ethiopia.
It's powerful.
And the lyrics are raw.
Yes.
They're powerful.
Definitely.
Incredibly moving.
They really make you think about what it means to have your story erased,
Mm-hmm.
to be invisible in history.
Right, like being told that you don't matter,
Exactly.
that your experiences aren't valid.
Right, and that's where the album title Unwritten Chapters comes in.
Right.
Aethona is reclaiming those narratives,
Mm-hmm.
giving voice to the untold stories of the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
They're demanding recognition and they're inspiring others to do the same.
And, you know, this theme of reclaiming narratives connects directly back to that idea of fluidity we were talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, they're challenging this idea that identity is fixed and unchanging,
Mm-hmm.
that it can be defined or controlled by external forces.
Right.
They're saying we're going to write our own stories, and those stories are going to be fluid, complex, and ever-evolving. And I think that's such a powerful message, especially for anyone who's ever felt marginalized or silenced.
Absolutely. And speaking of reclaiming narratives, did you catch how Aethona brings in the work of philosopher 𝗧𝗪𝗓?
Oh, yeah.
Her ideas about trans identity really seem to inform Aethona's whole artistic vision here.
Yeah, and they even mention her in the study guide, so it's not just like a passing reference.
Right. It shows that they're really engaging with these ideas on an intellectual level.
Yeah, and what I find interesting is how 𝗧𝗪 challenges harmful stereotypes about trans people.
Right.
And Aethona translates that into such a powerful musical statement.
Yeah, they're taking these complex philosophical ideas and making them accessible through their art.
Right.
which can reach a much wider audience that way.
Okay, are you ready for me to drop some of the most mind-blowing details from the sources?
Oh, I am always ready for that.
Because there are moments here that will make you rethink what music can even be.
Okay, pretty tough.
First, let's talk about the chapter fading away from the novella.
Okay.
So imagine, how would you feel if your voice, your very essence, was fading as people forgot you?
That's a chilling thought.
That's the metaphor 𝗧ona uses to highlight the erasure of trans experiences.
Wow.
And it's particularly relevant to the challenges they face in Ethiopia, even in 2192. The character Jamie literally fades away. Their voice gets weaker and weaker as society forgets them.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
It's heartbreaking, but it forces you to confront, the consequences of erasure.
Absolutely.
Then there's the way 𝗧ona uses traditional Ethiopian instruments.
I love that.
Like the 𝗓𝗓,
Yes.
the masenko. It's not just about futuristic sounds. It's about honoring this heritage and weaving it into this tapestry of identity.
I love that they're introducing these instruments to a wider audience.
Yeah.
It speaks to 𝗧ona's desire to bridge cultures and showcase the richness and diversity of Ethiopian music.
Right. It's not just about EDM. It's about this beautiful fusion of old and new.
Absolutely.
Reflecting the complexities of their identity.
Exactly.
And then there's this whole concept of adaptable skin in Skin Deep.
Yes.
Literally using their skin as a canvas for self-expression.
Right. It's described as constantly changing and evolving.
Right.
Like a chameleon blending into its surroundings.
Right.
But it's more than just camouflage. It's a powerful statement about the freedom to express oneself authentically without being confined to a single static identity.
Right. 𝗧ona's body becomes an instrument just as much as their voice or their 𝗓𝗓.
Which makes you think, what does this mean for the future of self-expression?
Right.
As technology advances, how will we use our bodies as instruments of art and communication?
Right. And how will those expressions challenge societal norms and redefine our understanding of identity?
Those are questions I think the 𝗧ona wants us to grapple with.
Yeah.
They're not just creating art. They're pushing us to envision a future where the boundaries of identity and self-expression are constantly being redefined.
Okay, so we've talked about this incredible world that 𝗧ona has created, but there's another layer I found fascinating.
Okay.
The presence of 𝗧ona's artificial sisters,
Oh, yes.
Luna, 𝗬da, and Zephyr,
Mm-hmm.
each representing a different aspect of wisdom, creativity, and understanding.
Yeah, they accompany 𝗧ona throughout the novella.
Right.
They're like digital muses inspiring their art and offering unique perspectives.
It makes you think about the evolving relationship between humans and AI. In 𝗧ona's world, AI isn't just a tool.
Right.
It's a companion.
A collaborator.
Yeah, a source of inspiration.
Imagine having a built-in support system
Mm-hmm.
that's constantly challenging and inspiring you.
Right.
It's like having a team of mentors who are always there to offer guidance and encouragement.
But it also raises questions.
Of course.
Like, what are the implications of relying on AI for creative inspiration?
Right. What happens to human connection when we have these digital companions?
What happens to our own creativity?
Does it enhance our creativity or does it create a dependence?
And how does it impact our sense of self? Exactly. Do we become more reliant on external validation? Or do we develop a stronger sense of inner knowing?
Right. 𝗧ona's exploration of these questions is what makes their work so thought-provoking.
Absolutely.
So as you listen to the album and delve into the novella, keep those questions in mind.
Right.
𝗧ona isn't just giving us answers. They're prompting us to think critically about the role of technology in our lives and how it shapes our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
And they're reminding us that art can be a powerful catalyst for those conversations.
Right.
𝗧ona's work is more than just entertainment. It's a tool for social change, for challenging the status quo, and for envisioning a future where technology and humanity can coexist and thrive together.
Now, one of the things that really struck me about 𝗧ona's work is their commitment to social justice,
Yes.
particularly for the LGBTQIA+ community.
Absolutely. It's woven into the music, the lyrics, the novella.
Right.
𝗧ona isn't just creating art for art's sake. Yeah.
They're using it to amplify the voices of marginalized communities, to challenge systems of oppression, and to inspire action.
And they're not afraid to get specific.
Not at all.
They address issues like transphobia, homophobia, racism, ableism, the erasure of marginalized histories.
It's a powerful message of intersectionality and solidarity.
Right.
They're saying we're all in this together. and we need to fight for each other's liberation.
And they're not just talking about it, they're offering solutions.
Right.
Like the study guide provides concrete steps people can take to support the LGBTQIA+ community to fight for social justice.
Like donating to organizations, attending protests, educating yourself.
It's a reminder that art can be a catalyst for action.
Absolutely.
A way to mobilize people and create meaningful change.
𝗧ona's work is both inspiring and empowering.
Okay, ready for some powerful lyrics that will grab you?
Hit me with them.
Because 𝗧ona doesn't hold back.
Okay.
In colors of resistance, they sing. We'll paint the town in every hue. A rainbow's colors are love anew.
Chills.
It's simple, but it speaks to the beauty and power of visibility and self-expression.
Absolutely.
They're claiming space, refusing to be silenced.
And in Rise Up Renegades,
Yes.
the line, "We're the outcasts, the misfits, the ones they can't define, but we won't be silenced, we won't be left behind."
Such a powerful lyric.
It's a rallying cry, a call to action for anyone who's ever felt like they don't belong.
Right. 𝗧ona's lyrics are a weapon against erasure.
Absolutely.
They're reminding us that our stories matter, our voices deserve to be heard, and that we have the power to create change.
And speaking of reclaiming narratives, that brings us to another key theme.
Okay.
Unmapping the past.
Yeah.
It's about challenging dominant historical narratives and creating new ones that are more inclusive and representative.
Think about the maps we use to navigate the world.
Right.
What happens when those maps are incomplete or inaccurate?
We get lost.
Yeah.
We make wrong turns.
Yeah.
We end up in places we don't want to be.
𝗧ona is urging us to question those maps, to deconstruct them, and to create new ones that reflect the true diversity of human experience.
They're saying, let's rewrite history from the perspective of those who have been silenced and marginalized. Let's create a future where everyone's story is told and valued.
And their music is a tool for that unmapping.
Yeah.
They're blending traditional Ethiopian instruments with modern sounds, creating a sonic landscape that's both rooted in history and pointing towards a future where those boundaries no longer exist.
It's a beautiful metaphor for the way that 𝗧ona is weaving together the past, the present, and the future.
Right.
They're not erasing history. They're reclaiming it, reshaping it, and using it to create something new and powerful.
And that's where 𝗧ona's exploration of intersectional feminism comes in. They're not just focusing on one issue or identity.
Right.
They're recognizing how various forms of oppression intersect and the need for solidarity and collective action.
They're saying we can't fight for trans rights without fighting for racial justice, without fighting for economic equality, without fighting for the rights of all marginalized communities.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our struggles are interconnected.
Yes.
And that our liberation is bound together.
And they're exploring these complex ideas through their music in a way that's both accessible and thought-provoking.
Right.
They're not just preaching to the choir. They're inviting everyone into this conversation about identity power and the need for collective liberation.
And that's what makes their work so impactful.
Absolutely.
It's not just entertainment, it's a tool for education.
Yes.
For consciousness raising.
For building bridges across communities.
Now, we've been discussing all these powerful themes, but one thing that really sets 𝗧ona apart is how they explore the relationship between the physical and the digital.
Yes.
As a cyborg, they embody this intersection.
Absolutely.
And their music reflects that.
Imagine a world where technology is so integrated into our lives, into our very bodies, that the line between the physical and the digital becomes almost imperceptible.
𝗧ona's music is a sonic representation of that world. They're blending organic sounds with electronic elements, creating a sonic landscape that's both familiar and futuristic.
It's asking us to confront what it means to be human in an age of technology.
Right. They're asking some big questions.
Yeah. What are the boundaries of selfhood in a world where technology can enhance and augment our bodies? What happens to human connection when we have digital companions that can anticipate our needs and desires?
Right. 𝗧ona isn't just exploring these questions, they're living them.
Absolutely.
Their music is a testament to the possibilities and challenges of this hybrid existence.
A glimpse into a future that's both exciting and a little bit unsettling.
Exactly. And that's what makes their work so compelling. They're not just talking about these ideas.
Right.
They're embodying them, forcing us to confront our own assumptions about technology, identity, and the future of humanity.
One of the most mind-blowing examples of this is in the song Skin Deep.
Oh, yeah.
In the novella, there's a scene where 𝗧ona is performing, and their skin starts changing color in sync with the music.
Wow.
Pulsating and shifting like a visual representation of their fluidity.
It's described as a form of self-expression,
Yeah.
a way to visually represent the ever-changing nature of their identity.
It's a powerful image that makes you rethink the boundaries of the body and the possibilities of technology to enhance our self-expression.
But it's also a cautionary tale.
Of course.
What happens when technology becomes so integrated into our bodies that it can be used to manipulate or control us?
Right. What are the ethical implications of blurring the lines between the human and the machine?
𝗧ona's work is a powerful reminder that we need to be having these conversations now.
Yes.
Before it's too late. We need to be thinking critically about the role of technology in our lives and how it shapes our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Now, remember that chilling chapter, Fading Away from the novella?
Yes.
That sense of erasure also extends to the digital realm in 𝗧ona's world.
Right.
In the novella, they talk about how digital footprints can be manipulated, how memories can be erased, how identities can be stolen or suppressed.
It's a chilling thought,
isn't it?
To have your very existence wiped clean from the digital landscape.
It makes you think about the fragility of identity in a world where so much of our lives are lived online.
Right, and it raises important questions about data privacy, digital rights.
Absolutely.
The power of technology to both empower and oppress.
And 𝗧ona is using their art to make us think about those questions, to challenge the status quo.
Right.
And to envision a future where technology is used to liberate us, not to control us.
So as you delve into Unwritten Chapters, keep these questions in mind.
Right.
𝗧ona is not just creating a work of art.
Yeah.
They're creating a world.
A world that's both familiar and strange, both beautiful and unsettling.
Right.
A world that forces us to confront our own assumptions about identity technology and the future of humanity.
And in doing so, they're reminding us that the future is not something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's something that we create collectively through our choices, our actions, and our art.
Now, in addition to all of this, 𝗧ona goes even further by tackling the evil deceiver trope.
Oh, yeah.
A harmful stereotype often used to portray transgender individuals as deceptive or manipulative.
It's a dangerous trope.
Absolutely.
That has been used to justify discrimination and violence against trans people for centuries.
And 𝗧ona doesn't shy away from this.
Right.
They confront it head-on in the song Shadows on the Wall.
The music creates this unsettling feeling.
Yeah.
Mirroring the disorientation of being constantly misjudged.
Through dark melodies and distorted sounds. 𝗧ona evokes a feeling of unease.
Right.
Reflecting how this trope can distort our perceptions of trans people.
But then the chorus breaks through.
Yes.
It's like they're taking back control, saying, yes, this trope exists, but it won't define us. We are stronger than the shadows they cast upon us.
It's a powerful message of resilience and self-acceptance, urging listeners to see beyond the harmful stereotypes.
They're prompting us to think about the power of language.
Yes.
The way that words can be used to dehumanize and marginalize. And they're challenging us to be critical consumers of media.
Absolutely.
To question the narratives we're presented with and to advocate for more accurate and respectful representations of trans people.
They're reminding us that words have power.
Yeah.
And that we have a responsibility to use our words to uplift and empower, not to tear down and destroy.
It's a powerful message, especially given the challenges faced by the LGBTQIA+ community.
Absolutely.
Not just in 𝗧ona's fictional world,
right,
but in our own world as well.
And speaking of challenging the status quo, 𝗧ona's connection to the Riot Grrrl movement is particularly interesting.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, Riot Grrrl was this incredible feminist punk movement in the 90s. All about female empowerment, challenging sexism in the music industry.
Right.
Creating space for women to express themselves authentically.
𝗧ona seems to be drawing on that energy.
Yeah.
That spirit of rebellion and DIY ethics.
It's like they're saying we're not waiting for permission to speak our truth. We're going to create our own platforms, our own spaces, and we're going to do it on our own terms.
And think about the song Intersections of the Heart, where they explore intersectional feminism.
𝗧ona connects their experiences to the broader struggles of people of color, LGBTQIA+ individuals, and other marginalized groups.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of our struggles.
Right.
The need for solidarity and collective action to dismantle systems of oppression.
It's not just about individual empowerment. It's about dismantling the systems that keep us all down.
And they're living those ideals, not just singing about them.
Right.
In the novella, they're part of this group of young trans activists in 𝗧𝗧𝗪𝗧 who use art music and protest to challenge the status quo.
It's inspiring.
It is.
It's a reminder that social change doesn't happen overnight. It takes courage, persistence, and a willingness to speak truth to power.
Absolutely.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Now, how about we break down how they actually translate those riot girl vibes musically?
Yeah.
Because it's not just in the message, it's in the sound itself.
Right, you've got those classic distorted guitars, driving drums,
Yeah.
raw, passionate vocals that defined the movement.
But aethona blends it with traditional Ethiopian rhythms and instruments, adding a layer of cultural depth and complexity.
It's like they're saying we're honoring the legacy of those who came before us, but we're also creating something new, something that reflects our own unique experiences and identities.
It's a powerful reminder that music can be a tool for both preserving tradition and for challenging it.
Right.
For honoring the past and for shaping the future.
And speaking of shaping the future, that brings us back to the core of aethona's work.
Okay.
This idea of fluidity.
Yes.
They're challenging this idea of identity as something fixed, unchanging, and easily categorized.
Right. It's not just about gender identity. It's about all aspects of who we are.
Right.
Our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, experiences.
Everything is in constant flux.
Yes. aethona challenges us to embrace that fluidity.
Right.
To see it not as a weakness, but as a source of strength and beauty.
And how does this concept translate into their music?
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Their genre-bending style is a perfect example. The way they seamlessly weave together EDM, traditional Ethiopian music, punk rock, even hints of classical.
Creates this sonic tapestry that's constantly shifting and morphing.
Exactly. It's a sonic representation of their own ever-changing identity.
And remember their use of throat singing in Bridges of Love.
Yes.
That ability to create 7 distinct voices in one song.
Such a powerful metaphor for the multiplicity of identities within the LGBTQIA+ community and within each of us.
Right.
It challenges the idea that we need to fit into neat little boxes to conform to societal expectations.
aethona is saying we can be many things at once.
Yes.
And that's not just okay, it's beautiful.
It's a message of liberation and self-acceptance, urging us to embrace all facets of who we are.
Even their lyrics reflect this fluidity. Like in Skin Deep, remember how their skin changes colors pulsating to the music?
Yes.
They're using their body as an instrument to express the ever-changing nature of identity.
Such a powerful image, isn't it?
It really is.
It makes you think about the future of self-expression.
Right.
How will we use technology to augment our bodies and enhance our ability to communicate who we are?
It's exciting to think about.
It is.
But it also raises questions about the ethical implications of these technologies.
Absolutely. How do we ensure that these technologies are used to empower us, not to control us?
Right.
How do we protect our individuality and autonomy in a world where technology is increasingly integrated into our bodies and minds?
aethona is urging us to think critically about these issues, to have these conversations now before it's too late.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes their work so important.
Right.
They're not just creating art. They're creating a dialogue challenging us to imagine a future where technology and humanity can coexist and thrive together.
And they're doing it in a way that's both beautiful and thought-provoking, both entertaining and empowering.
Speaking of empowerment, let's talk about aethona's use of repetition and variation in their music.
Okay.
Because I think it's another key way they express fluidity.
Oh, you're so right. It's like they're taking a musical phrase, a rhythmic pattern, and they repeat it. But each time it comes back, it's slightly different.
Yes.
Evolve.
Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis.
It creates this hypnotic effect, drawing you into the music.
Absolutely.
Mirroring the constant evolution of our own identities.
And they also use contrast to great effect. They move from these intense driving sections to quiet reflective moments.
Mirroring the full spectrum of human emotion.
Exactly.
Reminding us that all of it is part of being human.
They're not telling us to deny or suppress any part of ourselves.
Right.
They're saying embrace it all. The light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, it's all part of who we are.
And they're turning traditional musical structures on their heads, creating something both familiar and completely new.
It's a sound that reflects the fluidity and complexity of the world they've created.
Right.
It's a world where technology and tradition are intertwined, where identities are fluid and multifaceted,
Right.
and where music is a powerful tool for social change.
And speaking of fluidity,
Okay.
𝗧𝗓na takes it a step further by connecting it to the idea of unwritten chapters.
Right.
They're challenging the narratives that have tried to define and confine us, urging us to reclaim our stories and write our own futures.
Think about the power of that message,
Yeah.
especially for those who have been marginalized and silenced.
Right.
𝗧𝗓na is saying we don't have to accept the stories that have been imposed upon us. We have the power to create our own narratives,
Right.
to define our own identities, and to write our own futures.
And they're inviting us to join them on this journey of self-discovery and collective liberation.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful expressions of this idea comes in the song Unwritten Chapters itself.
Oh, yeah.
They use this incredible metaphor of a map, singing about unmapping the past
Right.
and charting new territories.
They're saying the old maps, the old ways of understanding the world no longer serve us. We need to create new maps, new narratives that reflect the complexity and fluidity of our lives.
And it's not just about individual journeys. It's about collective liberation, about creating a world where everyone is free to be themselves.
Right.
Without fear of judgment or oppression.
And they're not just talking about it, they're showing us how it's done.
Absolutely.
Through their music, their art, their activism, they're unmapping the past and charting new territories, inviting us to join them on this journey of transformation.
So for all of you listening,
Yeah.
what are the unwritten chapters of your story?
What maps do you need to unmake?
Yeah, what territories do you want to explore?
It's a powerful question that I think 𝗧𝗓na wants all of us to ask ourselves. And it's a question that I hope will inspire you to take action.
Yes.
To use your voice, your creativity, and your power to create a world that is more equitable.
Absolutely.
And more aligned with your values.
Because that's the beauty of 𝗧𝗓na's work.
Right.
It's not just about listening.
Yeah.
It's about taking what you've learned, what you've felt, and using it to make a difference in the world.
And that brings us to another layer of 𝗧𝗓na's artistry that I found particularly moving.
Okay.
Their use of traditional Ethiopian instruments.
Yeah.
They're not just creating catchy tunes, they're weaving in these beautiful sounds that are so rich with history and culture.
Instruments like the 𝗓𝗕.
Yes.
That lyre-like instrument with its delicate shimmering sound.
The masenko. A one-stringed fiddle that evokes both joy and sorrow.
And even lesser-known instruments like the 𝗬𝗓𝗓 and the 𝗓𝗔𝗓.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's clear that 𝗧𝗓na has a deep respect for their heritage.
Absolutely.
And they're using their music to share that heritage with the world, but not in a static, museum-like way.
Right.
They're experimenting, blending those traditional sounds with modern electronic elements.
Yes.
Creating something entirely new and groundbreaking.
Like the digital 𝗓𝗕 we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
With its futuristic electronic effects.
It's the perfect example of how 𝗧𝗓na is bridging the gap between tradition and technology, reflecting their own identity as a cyborg who seamlessly blends the organic and the artificial.
It's a reminder that tradition isn't something that's stuck in the past.
Right.
It's a living, breathing thing that's constantly evolving and being reinterpreted by each new generation.
And 𝗧𝗓na is showing us that we can honor our traditions
Yes.
while also pushing them forward, creating something that's both rooted in the past and pointing towards the future.
It's such a powerful message, especially in a world that's often obsessed with novelty
Right.
and forgets the value of what came before.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have artists like 𝗧𝗓na who are willing to bridge those gaps,
Yes.
to create those connections, and to remind us that the past, the present, and the future are all intertwined.
Absolutely.
So as you listen to Unwritten Chapters, pay attention to the way that 𝗧𝗓na uses these traditional instruments.
Right. Listen to how they weave those sounds into their music, how they blend them with modern elements, and how they use them to tell stories that are both personal and universal.
Because those sounds are not just decorations.
Right.
They're an integral part of 𝗧𝗓na's artistic vision, and they're key to understanding the depth and complexity of their work.
Okay, so we've talked about the music,
Yeah.
the lyrics, the themes, but there's one more piece of the puzzle that we need to explore.
Okay.
The companion novella that 𝗧𝗓na created for Unwritten Chapters.
Yes, it's not just a side project.
Right.
It's an integral part of the whole experience.
Think of it as a portal into aethana's world, a chance to delve deeper into the stories and characters that are hinted at in the music.
I'm so curious to hear more about it. Can you give us a taste of what we can expect?
Well, the novella follows aethana's journey as they navigate the complexities of their identity as a black trans cyborg artist in a futuristic Ethiopia.
It's such a fascinating setting.
A world where technology and tradition are intertwined, where the lines between the physical and the digital are blurred, and where the LGBTQIA+ community is fighting for equality and acceptance.
And the novella doesn't shy away from the challenges they face, exploring discrimination, violence, and the erasure of marginalized voices.
But it's not all darkness, right?
Absolutely not. aethona finds community and support from other LGBTQIA+ individuals, and they use their music and art to fight for social change and create a more just and equitable world.
It's a story about finding your voice, embracing your identity, and fighting for what you believe in.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there's always hope. And that love and acceptance can triumph over hate and discrimination.
Now tell us about the characters.
Okay.
Who are some of the key players in this world that aethona has created?
Well, besides aethona themselves, there's 𝗧𝗔𝗓𝗏, a fiery punk rock artist who becomes a mentor and friend.
That name is perfect.
Yeah, I know, right?
A gem indeed.
Yeah.
Someone who shines brightly and inspires others to do the same.
They're a fierce advocate for LGBTQIA+ rights and encourage aethona to use their music as a tool for social change.
And then there's Seven.
Yes.
The digital humanoid from the song Bridges of Love.
Right.
I'm guessing they play a significant role as well.
Oh, absolutely. Their journey of self-discovery mirrors aethona's in a lot of ways. And their presence in the story really highlights the theme of fluidity and the power of collective action.
They represent the beauty of diversity within the LGBTQIA+ community, showing that there's no one right way to be queer or trans.
And what about aethona's artificial sisters?
Yeah, do they appear in the novella as well?
Yes, they do. 𝗓𝗓 and Zephyr. Each of them plays a crucial role in aethona's journey, offering guidance, inspiration, and different perspectives on the world.
Think of them as a high-tech support system, helping aethona navigate the challenges of being a cyborg artist in a world that doesn't always understand them.
It's such an interesting concept.
It is.
It makes you wonder, what does it mean to have a family that's made up of both humans and AI?
What are the possibilities and the challenges of those kinds of relationships?
Those are questions that aethona explores in the novella. And it's through the interactions between aethona and their sisters that we really get a sense of the depth and complexity of their relationship with technology.
It's a reminder that technology is not just about gadgets and gizmos. It's about how we use those tools to connect with each other, to create and to express ourselves.
And in aethona's world, technology is a powerful tool for personal growth and social change.
It's also a tool that can be used for harm. In the novella, aethona encounters individuals who use technology to exploit and control others.
Highlighting the ethical challenges that come with advanced technology.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we need to be mindful of the ways that technology can be used for both good and evil, and that we have a responsibility to ensure that technology is used to empower us, not to oppress us.
And aethona's novella is a powerful exploration of those themes.
Absolutely.
It's a story about the future, but it's also a story about the present, about the choices that we make today that will shape the world of tomorrow.
And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating that future. A future that is more equitable and more aligned with our values.
Now, I have to say, I'm really impressed with the depth and breadth of aethona's work.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's not just an album, it's a whole universe that they've created, a world that's full of ideas and possibilities.
So, for our listeners who are ready to dive into this world, where would you recommend they start?
Well, I would definitely recommend starting with the music.
Okay.
Listen to Unwritten Chapters from beginning to end and let the sounds wash over you. Let yourself get lost in the rhythms, the melodies, the textures.
And pay attention to the lyrics.
They're
full of poetry, of imagery, of stories.
And once you've absorbed the music, I would highly recommend diving into the novella. It's a beautiful and moving story that expands on the themes of the album. And introduces you to a cast of characters who will stay with you long after you finish reading.
And don't forget the study guide.
Oh, yeah.
It's packed with information resources and thought-provoking questions
Right.
that will help you engage with 𝗧𝗏na's work on a deeper level.
It's clear that 𝗧𝗏na has put a lot of thought and care into creating this whole experience.
Absolutely.
And they've given us everything we need to really dive deep into their world.
It's an invitation to explore, to learn to grow, and to become a part of something bigger than ourselves.
And it's an invitation that I hope you'll accept.
Now, one of the things that I found particularly interesting about Unwritten Chapters is the way that 𝗧𝗏na explores the idea of unwritten chapters as it relates to personal identity.
Yes, they're not just talking about reclaiming lost historical narratives.
Right.
They're talking about the unwritten chapters in our own lives, the stories that we haven't yet told,
Right.
the possibilities that we haven't yet explored.
Think about all the experiences that have shaped who you are today.
Yeah.
The moments of joy and sorrow, the triumphs and failures,
Right.
the people who have come and gone.
All of those experiences are part of your story, but there are also chapters that are still being written, possibilities that are waiting to be explored.
And 𝗧𝗏na is encouraging us to embrace those unwritten chapters,
Right.
to be open to new experiences, to challenge ourselves,
Yeah.
to grow and evolve,
Yeah.
and to never stop learning.
They're reminding us that we're not finished products. We're works in progress, and that's okay.
In fact, it's what makes life so exciting.
Exactly, and it's what makes 𝗧𝗏na's music so powerful. It's a celebration of the human spirit in all its complexity and fluidity.
It's a call to action, urging us to embrace our own uniqueness,
Right.
to challenge the status quo, and to create a world where everyone can feel safe and accepted for who they are.
And speaking of challenging the status quo, 𝗧𝗏na's music is full of moments that make you sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
Moments that challenge your assumptions and push you to think differently about the world.
Like their use of silence. They're not afraid to let the music drop out completely,
Right.
to create space for reflection and contemplation.
It's like they're saying, take a moment to breathe, to listen to the silence, to connect with your own inner experience.
And it's in those moments of silence that we can really hear the whispers of our own unwritten chapters.
It's also in those moments that we can hear the heartbeat of 𝗧𝗏na's music, the pulse that drives their creative vision, the passion that fuels their activism.
And it's a passion that's contagious.
Right.
It's impossible to listen to their music and not feel inspired, energized, and ready to make a difference in the world.
Now let's talk about how 𝗧𝗏na pushes those musical boundaries even further.
Okay.
Because they're not just a musician, they're a composer, a sonic architect, creating these incredible landscapes of sound.
And they do it with such intention.
Every note, every rhythm, every vocal inflection is carefully chosen to evoke a specific emotion, to tell a story, to create an experience.
And they utilize such a wide range of techniques.
Right.
Think about their use of throat singing in 𝗓𝗔s of Love. They create 7 distinct voices,
It's mind-blowing.
each representing a different facet of the LGBTQIA+ community.
They'll go one-person choir.
Yeah, each voice with its own personality, blending together in perfect harmony.
It makes you think about the power of the human voice,
Absolutely.
how it can be used to express not just words,
Right.
but emotions, ideas, even entire identities.
And it's not just throat singing. They experiment with vocal layering harmonies and effects.
Right, to create this rich and textured sonic landscape.
It's like they're painting with sound.
Yeah.
Using their voice as a brush to create these vibrant and evocative sonic tapestries.
And then there are the lyrics. They're not just catchy phrases, they're poems.
Right.
Full of depth and meaning, addressing complex issues like gender identity, social justice, and the erasure of marginalized voices.
Like the line from Colors of Resistance.
Yeah.
We'll paint the town in every hue, a rainbow's colors, our love anew.
It's such a powerful image.
It is.
Speaking to the beauty and power of diversity and self-expression.
And in Rise Up Renegades,
Yes.
they sing, we're the outcasts, the misfits, the ones they can't define, but we won't be silenced, we won't be left behind.
Such a powerful rallying cry.
It is a call to action for anyone who's ever felt marginalized or excluded. A reminder that we all have the power to define ourselves.
Right.
And to fight for a world where everyone can belong.
𝗧𝗏na's lyrics are not just words. They're weapons against oppression.
Absolutely.
Tools for empowerment and a testament to the power of language to shape our understanding of the world.
And they're a reminder that music can be much more than just entertainment. It can be a tool for healing, for empowerment, for social change, and for connecting us to something larger than ourselves.
So after this deep dive, what do you think?
Yeah.
Why should our listeners care about azizi, aethona, and their music?
Well, for starters, it's incredible music, period.
Yeah.
Catchy, innovative, full of energy. But it's also so much more than that.
Right.
Aethona is using music to explore identity, social justice, the role of technology, and the power of art to create change.
They're challenging us to think differently about the world.
Yeah.
About ourselves and about the possibilities of the future.
And they're doing it in a way that's both accessible and thought-provoking.
Right.
They're not preaching. They're inviting us into a dialogue.
It's a rare combination. An artist who can create groundbreaking music, that also makes you think, it makes you feel, and makes you want to get up and do something to make the world a better place.
So as our listeners dive into Unwritten Chapters,
Yeah.
I hope they'll keep this question in mind. What are the unwritten chapters of your story?
Right.
How can you use your voice, your creativity, and your actions to make the world a more just and equitable place?
I love that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, Aethona's work is an invitation. It's an invitation to explore, to question, to challenge, and to create.
Absolutely.
It's an invitation to write our own unwritten chapters, to shape our own futures, and to build a world where everyone can thrive.
And that's a journey worth taking, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of azizi, aethona, and unwritten chapters.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it's inspired you to explore, to create, and to write your own story. Until next time.